are to fit it. So I've already opened this up to 14 by 17. We're at 40 inches. So I'm going to do her right side. So go ahead and step that way. I want the central ray to be on the bone of the humerus, about in the middle, so for her height. And we're going to do an external rotation, which is palm out, and that puts the elbow AP. So that's our AP humerus. Keep going that way a little bit. And I just want to lower it just a tiny bit. Come back towards me a smidgen, over, right there. Now we've got shoulder to elbow going across the 14 by 17 catty corner. I need to marry. So corner to corner, we should have all of the humerus on there. Now to make this collimation a little bit better, I can turn the box. So I'm going with the bone, collimate. But before you do that, you want to be married.
Okay.
So that's just a tip. If you have somebody with a really long humerus and you can't do that, you could leave it, but that just gives you a lot of extra light that you don't need. You could
So where do you want the center receiver?
right in the middle of the humerus. So I
Just the
moved
middle,
her
okay.
side to side to get it there.
Okay.
So that's our AP humerus. The epicondyles, the bumps on the side of the humerus, are parallel to the IR. That's how we know we're in an AP. When it looks like an AP elbow, externally rotated, meaning the hands out, palm up. Need water. Internal rotate your hand till it's touching the back of your hip. That puts the elbow lateral. Automatic. Now I could extend it down to get it on the light now. Bend a little bit more. Because I have it collimated, I can go back out. And then step to the side a little bit. Right there. Still isn't out to 14 here. Okay.
In the video.
So, I didn't turn it quite straight. You want to make sure you don't clip the shoulder joint or the elbow joint. We need both. So with collimation, if you can't collimate, you can leave it to the IR size. But if I wanted, I could turn it along the side of the bone, a little bit over. Still in the middle of the humerus, and I can go side to side.
Interesting.
So that's our
We don't
humerus.
have to.
You don't have to.
Okay.
AP and lateral, 2 pictures.
Okay.
14 by 17. So shoulder is pretty similar, but it's a 10 by 12. The book says you can go portrait or landscape. That's going to be dependent on your site. We had to do one where I worked that included the whole clavicle. So we would do one that was landscape, and then we would do our other ones portrait to get more humerus. So when you go out to clinic, that's going to be what you're going to figure out what they do. For comp, I don't care. That looks so weird on this collimation right now. Step to the side off the board. Okay, it looks like a 10 by 12. It's just the way it was on the scrub shirt. So go ahead and back against the board. For the shoulder, your central ray is about 1.5 inches below coracoid process. Coracoid process is a place where ligaments attach. It's a soft indentation area on your body that you can poke. And when you poke and you feel like a little pain, tingly pain, that's it. It's hard to feel the bump of the bone because it's got muscles and stuff. It's below the clavicle. So I say it's about 2 fingers below the clavicle almost. And it's above the armpit and below the top of the shoulder, so about midway. So that's where your centering is. So on her, you're not going to poke and feel on a hurt shoulder of a patient. You just need to know about where that area is so you can eyeball it. So it's probably about right there. So with my central ray there, come over a little bit to get it in the middle towards me. Right there. So now when I see that, I can know I'm there by looking. I have a little bit of light over the top of the shoulder, and I have light off to the side of the shoulder. So my shoulder is in the middle of the film. So you can kind of eyeball it. Now I just need to marry. For shoulder, we have 2 main pictures, internal and external rotation. That's 2 pictures. So externally rotate your hand, palm out. This puts the greater tubercle, this bump of our humerus up here, in external rotation out so we can see it. So on our x-ray, that's how we know it's externally rotated. Then we're going to take our IR out, take that picture, put it back in. internally rotate, palm is going to be almost touching the back of the hip. That puts those epicondyles lateral again, like a lateral humerus. That rotates everything in, and the lesser tubercles seen inside the joint. That's what you're going to see on X-ray. So when we start looking at X-rays, that's how you can tell if it's internal or external rotation. So that's our two main shoulders. So that's two pictures. One other thing I didn't tell your group, we'll get into this more tomorrow. Make sure their chin is away. So we don't get a picture of their chin in the picture in the X-ray. I just noticed it with her mask. All right, and we'll suspend respiration. All right, that's good for those two. Now we have two special views you're gonna learn.
Shielding lap.
Just lap. One of them is to see the shoulder joint, and that's the gray sheet. So I'm gonna oblique you towards me a little bit, kind of halfway. It's gonna depend on body habit as how much oblique. It's like 30 approximately in the book. And our centering changes. For this one, it's specific to the shoulder joint. And how you find that is about 2 inches from the top, 2 inches from the side. You're gonna be able to kind of pinpoint right where your shoulder joint is. You can feel it. That's where our central ray goes. Where the head of the humerus meets. 2 inches down, 2 inches over from the side and tops of the shoulder. Right in that glenoid fossa. That's what we're looking at. Your book says an 8x10 IR. You don't have to go 8x10 because we're really going to go smaller than that. It's just a nice little square around the shoulder joint. So a little box about 4x4. So you don't have to go by the numbers.
Okay. And that's
the gray sheet. Specifically to open up the shoulder joint so we can see in the space. So when you look at your AP X-ray, you don't really see it. They're overlapping. It's the head of the humerus is touching into the scapula, but then when you turn this one, you'll see a line, like a space. And that's what we're looking for in the gray sheet, the glenoid cavity, glenoid fossa. So on your comp, you're not going to do both of these special ones. One will be, if your comp paper says for the glenoid fossa, you're going to do gray sheet. The next special view is the Y view. And that specifically is the only view that's going to show us if our shoulder is dislocated. Because from AP and internal, external, it could look like it's in the right spot. But when you turn it and the head of the humerus is dislocated on this Y view, you'll see it not in the joint space. So for the Y view, when you go to clinic, some techs will do it AP. AP means they're like this. See how much space you have? OID? That's going to be magnification, distortion. So the book, the preferred way is PA. So this is her right shoulder. When we do the Y view, we want the right shoulder touching the board and oblique. So we're looking at it on its side, the scapula really. So go ahead and face the board. Your right shoulder is going to touch down. The scapula, I'm looking for it to be straight to the board. So the way the book says to know if it's straight to the board is this vertebral border edge of the scapula straight with the acromion in the front where the clavicle is. So if I was to take your pin or your ID badge, I use my hand, pretend like it's an arrow going through it straight to the board. From that vertebral border to the front, that acromion process being straight, that's how much you oblique her. There's a range in the book, 45 to 60 degrees. It depends on your body habit is how much you have to oblique your patient. So if I was to go less, see how my scapula's shooting that way? We want the scapula to be straight. And then for I'm way up on the shoulder joint because I just did gray sheet. I need my centering to be mid-scapula, coming out through the neck of the humerus. And I'm gonna open it back up to a 10x12.
Which view is this one?
This is the Y view.
Oh,
So this is specifically the only view that's going to show us if the shoulder is dislocated, if the humerus is out of spot.
And you put your right marker on there since it's the
Yeah, since it's the right shoulder. Just a little bit lower it was. And that's the last one for shoulder. So on comp day, for shoulder, you're going to do internal, external. And if it says for dislocation, you're going to do the Y view.
So we don't have to mirror it?
I did. I fixed it.
Oh, okay.
Yep. If it says for the joint space, you'll do the gray sheet.
Joint space, gray
So now you guys can practice all of those.
Okay. can see that very well. And the humerus, we do it.
Yes, enter our center